Me, our guest today, the incomparable Carrie Douglas and Dr. Shannon Williams and Osiris Jackson. So today's panel and podcast consists of four entrepreneurs. All of us are entrepreneurs, but I'm going to have the esteemed honor of trying to navigate some of this knowledge and experience in such a way that it can help you increase or boost your business. This is a very, very important subject matter dear to my heart. As a child, I watched my entrepreneurial parents, even though they worked, they also had a real estate business in that they owned an apartment building in which we lived in. And so I got a chance to watch them work in their own business as well as work jobs. And I started trying to be an entrepreneur, selling food out my mother's kitchen on the back porch, probably at the age of 10, 11, maybe 12. I don't remember how old I was exactly. But I would sell her food off the back porch to all the kids playing in the alley. We had an alley which divided the streets in Chicago, one street from another. We played basketball back there and everything. And the kids would come and I would sell them hamburgers and hot dogs and icy cups. And I would go to the store, Mr. Bell's on the corner, and I would buy some cookies and they'd be 2 for a penny. I know you know nothing of that kind of language in the 21st century, but we actually got 2 cookies for 1 penny. Little bitty wheel cookies with frosting on them. 2 for a penny, and then I would come back and sell them a penny a piece. And my little business on the back porch was going. Everything I go to the corner store for Mr. Bell, get what he had, came back, did an upcharge, made my little money, until my mother one day, she found out my business venture because she started noticing that her grocery inventory was going low. And she found out that I was selling the food outside on the back porch. And I thought she was going to kill me. But as a true entrepreneur, she said, now, I don't mind what you're doing, but you got to replace my food. So after I counted the cost of replacing her food, I didn't have no money. So I went out of business. And so I've been entrepreneurially minded ever since I was a child. And I believe that the necessities of life tends to push entrepreneurship. We have a high percentage of African American entrepreneurs when you consider entrepreneurs across all ethnic groups. We have a high percentage of African Americans that start businesses, but we also have a higher percentage of African American businesses that decline and go out of business. But I've said that because I believe that necessity becomes the foundation for creating businesses. I believe that ethnic groups that need to make more capital, they become a little bit more creative in terms of ways in which they can make capital, and a lot of times that becomes entrepreneurship. But the problem is there's a difference between knowing how to possibly generate another income stream and then sustaining and maintaining that income stream. So it comes to economic development. and economic development is about bringing in new businesses. It's about maintaining existing businesses. It's about expanding existing businesses and then creating new businesses. So it benefits our entire community and world when we create good businesses. And so I want to talk to all three of these very accomplished business people that I believe that have some very practical things to share with you about boosting your business. Dr. Williams actually is an entrepreneur and holds a PhD in entrepreneurship. That's not the technical name, but that's what it is. And from the University of Texas. And Kerry Douglas, he's one of the award-winning producers, Black Smoke, one of the top minority-owned music production companies in the world. And his artists, how many of your artists on the last Stella Awards? How many?
I think 14. We won 14 Stellars.
14 Stellars. 14 Stellars. And his artists, he was on the stage with them. I watched them on TV. He didn't give me a ticket. So, so I watched on TV. But, and Elder Jackson, or Osiris Jackson, he has, he's started, cereal. He's a serial entrepreneur. In fact, one of his companies built my outdoor spa and exercise room at my home. And so I'm gonna let them, and let's start. Let's be gentlemen, and let's start with Dr. Williams. We're gonna be gentlemen today. Amen. So Dr. Williams, and I'm gonna put this question out for all you guys, because these are questions they wanted me to ask you, and they wanted me to ask you, what strategies have you personally found effective for boosting a business growth and profitability?
Okay. And
can you share kind of success story in that?
Okay. Strategy. One of the best things that I can recommend is that people pursue partnerships, right? There are a lot of things that you can do by yourself, but you can get even farther with a partner. And a partner can help you share costs, they can help you share resources, you share networks, and you can get a lot done by yourself, but once you realize that you've reached you've reached your limit of what you can do alone, partnering with someone else can be the next leg for you in helping you to grow. And then also, what was the first part of the question?
What strategies have you found?
Okay. Oh, the example. There was an example. Okay. So another thing that I would recommend is revisiting your business model. And your business model is not just, a plan for how you're going to make money. There are literally hundreds of business models. There's a retail model. There's a manufacturing model. There's a subscription model. So these are ways to generate revenue. And if you ask the typical entrepreneur what your business model is, like how you generate revenue, most people will say, well, I just sell what I sell and I make my money. But there are so many out there. There's a fee-for-service model if you have a service that you sell. There's a subscription model. There's a bundling model. There's a freemium. There's razor and blades. There's all these different models. So a lot of times I'll encourage them to go back and look at the different business models that they can integrate. For example, you look at Amazon. Amazon is a retail model. But lately you've seen on Amazon, they also offer subscription. So there's more than one way to make money. And for example, you can sell something, but then you can also offer a subscription for that same product, which will allow you to have recurring revenue monthly. Or you can bundle. And here's where the example came in, which is why I asked the question. I remember it piqued my my recollection of a company, a business that I worked with. I helped get it off the ground, and she started a yoga studio, and she had this really nice facility, and she was getting clients in one by one, and they would pay as they went. And she was like, well, I really can't, I was helping her with her numbers, I really can't forecast or predict my income. And I asked her, why don't you do a subscription? Like, health clubs have subscriptions. Why don't you put them on a monthly subscription? Which she did. But then she also went to the bundling model. So instead of one visit to the yoga studio, you could buy it in groups of 10 sessions or groups of 20 sessions. And she was able to not only get a lot of that revenue up front rather than leaving it up to the whims of her customers. I'm going to come this month. I'm not going to pay next month. I'm going to take a couple of months off. But she was able to integrate different business models into her business model canvas, which is the whole planning aspect of a business model. And it was a way to boost her business and to grow while her feet were already on the ground running.
Oh, that's great, Shannon. That's very insightful, presenting the diversity of models and how to make revenue in multiple ways rather than just thinking about a singularity of revenue. And it's so important. You brought up I once did a research paper on black businesses and enterprises, and one of the top reasons that black businesses and minority businesses tend to fail is because they go the route of sole proprietorship. And they don't want to share the business profits, but they forget about the risk. It's wonderful to share risk, and they want to do it alone. And normally, they're unsuccessful because they don't have partnerships. That's so important. Now, Carrie, you. When I first met you, it was through doing businesses. You used to do the gospel magazine. What was it?
It was called the Gospel Truth magazine.
The Gospel Truth magazine. And I used to write for you articles there, but that was just your foundation. But now they don't just call you Carrie Douglas, they call you the Carrie Douglas, like they call in English, sir. Some they call him the Carrie Douglas. Tell us, Carrie, one about your businesses, what you do, and then tell me a little bit about some of the strategies you took.
Well, first of all, my name is Carrie Douglas. When I sit on panels, I usually don't like to talk about myself because I like to make sure I could put something into the people that's listening. And the first thing that I would like to say today to you guys when you're starting off, you have to dream bigger than big. And that means you have to see it before you see it. You got to understand where you're planning on being and be prepared for that. And when I say be prepared for that, a lot of black businesses, when they start off as a proprietorship, I would go on and suggest you go on and LLC your company and LLC it the right way. And when I say that is when you create your LLC, there are certain categories that banks like and banks don't like. So I would say get your LLC, and when you do that, then I would like to see you get your E&I number and also your Dun and Bradstreet. Are y'all familiar with that? Okay, and the reason I'm saying get these things handled because the first thing I said is dream bigger than big, because you never know where your idea, where your business is going to go. An apostle said something earlier. He said that a lot of us fail because of a lack of resources. That means money. So you have to be prepared to get the bag from somebody who can help you increase your business. So therefore, you have to be prepared to be able to borrow money in order for your business to grow. And a lot of us don't set our business up with that in mind. So the first thing that I would say is go on and set your structure up. And usually when you're setting your structure up, to be able to borrow money even before you're making money, because people invest in ideas. They invest in ideas. So if you're a realtor, I don't think I would say I'm a real estate person. I would say I'm a consultant. And I would have that code for consultants. Because banks don't like financial, they don't like any of that kind of stuff, people. So you just got to look around and see which code you want to put your business under so it can grow. And I'm going to skip ahead of time here. And when you say growth, I just got off an airplane from California and was talking to some major players about some major money about acquisition. And I'm thinking, if I didn't set my business up the way I set it up at the beginning, all the stuff those guys were throwing on this table, it was a check, because I was set up for the acquisition in order to grow the business. And I have a very successful business now, but I just entered into the film business, television and movies and acquiring animations and things like this. So I'm in the entertainment, but I've had several businesses, and one of them is definitely consulting people in their businesses on how to be prepared to be bigger than big. You know, we have to really, we can never stop dreaming, because that's what entrepreneurs are. We're dreamers. We dream the impossible dream. We just think, you know, I want to do something different. I want to, no matter what it is that you do, never stop dreaming. And always understand that the wheel is round. You know what I mean? You get in your car, you're not riding on a square wheel, you're around. So quit trying to reinvent the wheel. But study the wheel. Study business. So it doesn't matter what you do. You have to understand the art of sales, because it doesn't matter what you are. If you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, if it's not selling, you're not making money. If you're a lawyer, if you're not marketing and selling yourself, you're a broke lawyer. We're not dreaming to be broke. We're dreaming to be bigger than big, right? Everybody's dreaming to be bigger than big, right? So you got to understand the art of selling and marketing. And there's so many techniques out here today. She was talking about bundling, subscription, all of that stuff. So it's all wonderful. For instance, what I do, I have a subscription-based television network. So it's subscription-based. We own content. So content is king right now. Books, sermons, knowledge, courses, talking about what you do. All of that is content. And anyone can develop their content right now. Whatever it is that you do, even what you don't know that you do, if you specialize in something, if you're a counselor, you can package your content. And, you know, we look at the internet, and it's like powerful. Sometimes it's evil, but sometimes it's good. But for instance, if you're a counselor and you want to do a course, there's so many ways that you could market yourself to the masses on the internet and sell your courses. See, we go back to selling, we go back to marketing, we go back to dreaming. So it doesn't matter what it is that you do. As you look into it deeper, and I hope I can bring some of this out in everybody, as that's what I do, the simple things. So just dream bigger than big. Be prepared for the big acquisition, no matter how small you think you are. Prepare your business at the very beginning to go get the bag, because there's people out here that loan you money. There's also companies out here that factor. Even if your credit is, you can, if you have an invoice with someone, Dr. Carson was talking about the magazine. And I'm going to just tell this quick story. And when I first started my magazine, you know, I wanted to, you know, I had this magazine and I packaged it, I shrink wrapped it with a CD in it with music because I'm in the music business. So I wanted to find a different way to market my music. So I would go and I didn't have a lot of money when I started. I didn't have money. So I went and found some other independent record labels that was like me that wanted to get their music to the masses. So I just went and sold, talking about selling, I sold them a song on this CD. So it had 10, 12, 15 songs on it. Well, I sold them one to you, one to you, one to, you know, 20 songs, $2,000 a piece. You know, so we sold, if I could do it for me, I could do it for you. And that's the beautiful thing, you know, we have to help other people grow. Everybody has to grow. So I would put these songs on the CD, and I would shrink wrap it in this magazine. Had wonderful writers like Dr. Carson, who wrote for me for promo. And we're going to talk about relationships too. That's another big thing, is building relationships. But anyway, I had this idea that I could take this gospel magazine and put it in Walmart. Like Walmart, right? I thought I could do it. I dreamed bigger than big. So, you know, we worked the magazine for a while. And so one day, you know, I found out that Walmart was in Bentonville, Arkansas. Bentonville, Arkansas. Okay, I'm thinking, just get me a ticket, go to Bentonville, and talk to them about putting my magazine in there. So I did that, went to Bentonville. It sounded like a little town, but I didn't realize that Walmart owned Bentonville, Arkansas, and it was a big organization. So I'm thinking I'm just going to walk up in there, and that wasn't the case. I couldn't even find a parking spot. It was that big. So I saw one parking spot, and I pulled in that parking spot, and there was a black lady and a white lady right behind me. They say, this is our assigned parking spot. And so I said, what do you mean? You know, I flew down here from Texas. I need to park. I got to go talk to some people in Walmart, putting my magazine. The lady was like looking at me like, you got to go do what? I'm going to go into Walmart, into the office, and talk about my magazine. And she started laughing. And she was with a black lady and white, so I assumed that the white lady was the boss. You know, that's what I assumed. But the lady said, let me see this magazine. The black lady, she's looking at the white lady, I was talking to the white lady. The white lady said, this is nice. The black lady said, this is nice. She said, now, do you have an appointment? I say, no, I don't have an appointment. I just drove up here, you know, flew up in here. She said, I tell you what, there's a parking lot, blah, 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 over there. You park and you come meet me over here, and I'll be waiting for you. And I walked in there, walked up to her. Her name was Sylvia Parker. And so she said, Mr. Douglas, I'm Sylvia, and I am the president of diversity. I'm the president of diversity. I didn't understand what that meant at the time, right? Yeah, I'm a street boy, so I don't have the PhDs and none of that. So this big old building, and they have a lot of cubicles, right? It was like tons of people from all over the world. I didn't realize what they were doing, and they were all in these cubicles. So they were people from all over the country. I mean, these white guys was dressed Italian suits, shoes. They were, you know, you could tell they had money. But they were sitting in these cubicles, and the buyers at Walmart had, some of these guys had set appointments for years. You know, it took them years to get in there. And Sylvia said, you see all these people? They've set these appointments up for years to come and talk to the buyer to try to get their product or their services into the Walmart stores. There's 4,972 Walmart stores at the time. And all of these people are positioning for space. So that means no matter how small you are, you still have to dream and prepare yourself for bigger than big. So when I walked in there and I talked and I sold my magazine and everything, and she was like, you is nothing but God, because there is no way that you're supposed to be here in this office at this time, and I need something for diversity, right? Yeah, so I go in there and I sit down and I sell them on this idea, and I'm thinking, great. So they made this order, right? They ordered 100 magazines for each store. Wow, right? I'm excited until I start doing the math.
Talk about it.
Because I started doing the math. 100 magazines. To manufacture 100 magazines, 100 CDs, 100 bags, and packaging them. Well, I didn't have that money, right? I didn't have it. But what I did have...
For how many stores?
For 4,900 stores. Right? So I asked God for this. He gave it to me. But was I prepared for it? I could have just been doing a regular little magazine like everybody else, little neighborhood magazine. No, Carrie Douglas dreamed bigger than big. So at the time, I was playing around, with the trucking business too. And when I got back home, I told my wife, I said, this was a wasted trip. We can't manufacture these magazines to put them in the stores. And I opened up the package that they gave me, and I saw it was an invoice in there. As an invoice. They was going to buy them from me, but I had to deliver them. So there's no way I could come up with it. It was almost $500,000. So I remembered from my other little business, in the trucking business, that these companies would do something that's called factoring. And we didn't know anything about that back then. So they would factor your invoice. If you had a Fortune 500 company that gave you an invoice, they would pay that invoice, and that company has to pay them, and they're going to take their chunk out at that time. So, God just put it in my spirit to call them and see if they'll do it. And because it was Walmart, they did it. And that was the beginning of Gospel Truth Magazine, making it to all of the Walmart stores around the country.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, Carrie, what I heard you say in terms of boosting your business was the first thing is that you dream bigger than big, excuse me. And so you have to dream bigger than big. And then I heard you say that you structured yourself so that your financial structure was in such a condition that you could go to the bank or you could go to other places. And then also the third factor was marketing and advertising your product. And with the flip side to marketing, which is sales, and that you have to sell your product. You can't just make your product, you got to sell your product. But then you sneaked in a fifth silent thing you said, but I heard it, and that was relationships. That relationships were very, very important. And you said it when I was writing for you pro bono. And, but I'm a grown man now. I need some money, man. Listen, no. But relationships, and relationships do matter. And you have relationships. Relationships is capital. Those are resources. I have friends that can get me for nothing, and just because they're my friends, and that's so important. And so we don't ever want to count out relational capital, because relationships can make the difference. And so thanks, Carrie. I'm going to move over here to Osiris now and let you tell a little bit about your cereal entrepreneurial journey and some strategies and some keys that can help boost other businesses.
Well, hello, my name is Osiris Jackson. And as Dr. Carson said, I have been a serial entrepreneur. I've had trucking companies. I've had real estate. I've done car lots, car repair shops. I've done auto body shops. I've done a very multitude of things, promotions, sales. I've been in different areas, construction companies as well. But I know, but to speak on strategy, I know one very important strategy that I feel as an entrepreneur, and Carrie kind of touched on it, is preparation. You know, when opportunity comes, and if you're not prepared, you won't succeed. I mean, it's kind of an impossibility. But the more prepared, the more research you have in a certain area or whatever that area that you want to delve into, then when different things arises and different opportunities come your way, then you can move out and meet out on those opportunities. So I typically try to have my understanding in business and finance, because all entrepreneurial things, you're going to have that banking background. Like Carrie said, you're going to need your LLC, your EIN, your DUNS number, because those things are going to come up. And it brought to mind for myself, one of the major catapults that started for me was when I was in Austin. I was visiting some family, and they were at a meeting, at a HUD meeting in the projects. So it was compulsory. They had the people come to a meeting, and they had some directors. There was some big wigs up in there. But my cousin say, "Hey, sit with me through this meeting. Then we're going to go and do what we're going to go do." And they were sitting up there, and they were giving a speech. It was a black lady and two white gentlemen. They were in the room, and at this time they were doing the welfare to work and the matching funds. So if you were on housing, Section 8, the state would give you a certain amount of money, the city would give you a certain amount of money, and that money could either be used for education or housing. So they were requiring the participants, they had to sit through this lecture, and they were speaking, but it was predominantly ladies. They were disinterested in the class. And I was just sitting in the back. And now my preparation was real estate, banking, finance, and funding. So they were talking. And then they had a break. And then the black lady was up there. I spoke with her. I say, "Ma'am, it seems like y'all not getting any movement out of the people." And she was like, yeah. I say, "If you don't mind, I have a background in real estate. Maybe I can speak to them and they can understand a little bit better." She said, "Man, this is my 7th one I've been to." She said, "If you could say anything," she said, "because we haven't had anybody sign up, to do anything." And so they have these accounts, and some of these accounts have 5,000 in them, some 10, some 20, some 30, and the ladies aren't doing anything with them. They're just staying in housing and not using the accounts. So I say, "Yeah, I'll speak with them." So they started the session back. I spoke with the ladies, and like Carrie, I'm from the streets, so I can speak their language, and I know the corporate language. So I was speaking both languages, but at the end of the meeting, like 20 ladies signed up. They signed up, and the lady was like, "Wow, I've been doing this for months, and you done had more and just you talking to them than I done had in months." She was saying, "What do you do?" And I was saying, "Well, I'm trying to do a little real estate thing with my cousin right now." And she was saying, "Please, please, please come to the governor's office, meet the HUD director. I want to introduce you to him." So at that time, I had met the lieutenant governor. She came down there, and she said, "Look, do you have a chodo?" I didn't know what a chodo was. I'm saying, "What's a chodo?" You know what I'm saying? She was saying, she said, "It's a community housing development organization." I say, "No, I just got my assumed name certificate, my DBA." So she was saying, "You need to set yourself up correctly first." So they got me my 501c3. They got me my chodo designation. They got everything that I needed, because what they did was the state let me directly bill them to receive the people to teach them home buyer education classes. And so me and my cousin, we got an office in downtown Austin right when they were starting the Austin Revitalization Authority. So I met the guy, Byron Marshall, who was a guy we became relationships. It helped me later down the road. We became real cool. But to make a long story short, in and of that, and just me having knowledge, me being prepared, you know, having some type of strategy, when we were doing maybe about, we were probably grossing about 20 grand a month. You know what I'm saying? And just running these ladies, because I was like, well, how much can I bill them? She was saying, what do you want to bill them? I said, you don't ask a street brother that. You know what I'm saying? So I was billing them. I was taxing them. So I bought my Benz and I was doing this and doing that. But I'm saying you have to be prepared. You have to know your stuff. So when that opportunity comes, you can use that opportunity. And then once it starts come, you can integrate yourself and grow your business, because we were doing home buyer classes and training the ladies, but then I told my cousin, get your real estate license, because so when they came from the classes, we would sell them, we would try to find them a house. Then I was like, man, let's build them a house. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let's build them a house. So then I got with my homeboy, we started a construction company. So I'm just saying there's different ways you can look at it, and you can't sit on your hands, and you can't be fearful, and you have to know what you know. And sometimes those events, you step up and say something, and that saying something catapult you to where you're trying to be.
And that's excellent, Osiris, and to see how you developed and kept increasing your business idea. And I think that one of the things that all of you have in common, but when I hear you're going about it in different ways, and that's demand and supply. It seems like Carrie created a demand. You had a demand, and you created the supply for the demand. And I think that what's most important when we're talking about boosting business, what is business? You're providing good products, goods, and services to people at a price, and that price should be a profit. And so when we really talk about boosting the business, then we're talking about solving a problem and meeting a need at a profit. And that's so important. I believe that a lot of times you can get caught up in the demands for revenue for your business that you forget about the business. And then you just start thinking about the money. And then when you start thinking about the money, you leave your dream. You're no longer dreaming the dream. You're trying to see how I can make some money, when the big money was in the dream. But now you've allowed the pressure of having to produce resources. You now depart from the dream and try to create quick money. And real money making opportunity is the long game. It is not the short game. And so you have to always be conscientious on meeting needs and solving problems at a profit. And we also have to understand that you're dealing with humans. So you're talking about changing needs and changing problems and greater profit. And so tell me, in you guys' experience as entrepreneurs, because when you talk about meeting needs, solving problems, for me, I hear the words like data. I hear the words like innovation, because those things help us to understand what the changing needs and the changing problems are. So I hear data, I hear innovation, but I also hear technology. And so when you're talking about boosting your business, how would you describe boosting your business in those terms, understanding that there is no business if you're not meeting someone's need and solving their problem. And sometimes, like, you have to create the need. They don't know they have that need, so you have to create the demand, and then they'll demand it. I see, Dr. Williams, you go ahead.
Yeah, so what I hear is research. Research, research, research. And if you've ever heard me talk about entrepreneurship, you're going to hear research all over again. Research, research, research. People are fickle, and the market is fickle. One day we love fast food. The next we're all health conscious, especially at the beginning of the year, and our desires change. We don't want fast food anymore. One day we like we like cold breakfast because we love cereal, and then the next we say we're off cold cereal. We want hot cereal, and then we say we don't want hot cereal. We want breakfast bars. So you have to research to know what people's needs are, and like Dr. Carson said, people's needs change all the time, so you have to keep your finger on the pulse of the market that you're serving, and the best way to do that is research, and you can research in two different ways. There's primary research where you engage directly with the consumer. You have to talk to the people, the target market that you are serving. You might not be able to do it face-to-face. Hello. You might not be able to do it face-to-face, although many entrepreneurs do. They talk to members of the target market that they're trying to serve to ask them, where are you? Where are you? What would you like to see? What are your pains? What are your frustrations? Because when you're talking about solving problems, you want to make sure that you have a finger on the pulse of the problem and why it's a problem and why they're frustrated, why it's a pain. In addition to talking to them, social media is a great place to do research. So you can go to different groups on research. You can say, go to groups that, say you're in the doggy business. I love dogs, and you want to do, a product for the doggy industry, and you have all these thousands of groups on social media that you can go to, and you can read posts where people talk about their frustrations, or I wish they had this for dogs, or I wish they had that for dogs. Or you might even get advertisements on social media that target this demographic that you're going after. And you can look at how people comment and respond to this particular product. Well, I love this, but I wish they had this. Or I don't use this because my dog that, right? Great place to find research, great place to find out what people are thinking, how they're thinking, and what they want at the time. And then one of my favorite ways that I tell my students all the time, you really need to get something sent to your inbox every single day. Because the market is not just the people that you're serving. That's one level of focus, but then there's a whole external environment that you're dealing with, political, economic, regulatory, legal. Things are going to affect your business that you need to, I think we have to turn off if you're not. Yeah, things that will affect your business, that you don't have any control over, but you will need to respond to. So all of that is data, all of that is research, that is information that you need to start your day with every single day. Because what if you start your day, you hit the ground running, you're driving your business, you're trying to grow, you're continuing the same path, the same strategy, but, unbeknownst to you, some new technology came out overnight that is about to put you out of business. And you didn't know it. And you were just all consumed and focused on your business to the point where you ignored what was happening externally in the market. And, all of a sudden, boom, you're obsolete. So you need to keep your finger on the pulse of what is happening. And for me, that is through research, which will provide the data that you need. And then the data analysis is going to provide information that you need to make critical decisions.
No, I know, spoken like a true professor of entrepreneurship. She teaches entrepreneurship at Texas Southern University. But by experience, that was true for you because she was one of the co-founders of the Black Expo. She was there in the beginning as a co-founder, and that's a trade show, and it's the largest minority trade show in the state of Texas with Jerome Love. But I was there with them. I consulted for them in the beginning of the Black Expo. And over the years, it has grown and grown, and is probably doing better now than it has done because it has grown, but it's a changing market. I grew up on the Black Expo in Chicago, Illinois, with Jesse Jackson, and so we used at the amphitheater in Chicago. We used to go to the Black Expo as kids, and so. But now the concept has changed because the market has changed, the needs have changed, and sometimes your business is not necessarily literally in a decline. It's just irrelevant. It's no longer necessary. And if you go ahead.
The example that I thought you were going to give, I have had a company called Genius Scribes that I've been doing for, it's 16 years. And Genius Scribes, we do ghostwriting for academics and high-level people in high places who need advanced, intelligent type ghostwriter and publishing. And so we would write the books because people hate writing. It's one of the things that many Americans hate the most. And so
not me.
Except you. You're an anomaly. They hate writing, and so the business was lucrative. It was going really well. Our client roster stayed stocked. Our project calendar stayed full the entire year with zero marketing, and we were riding that wave. It was good. And then I started getting these alerts in my inbox that were talking about this thing called, AI has always been with us, but when it came into chat form, that's when it really hit, because we've been using AI for decades. You just didn't know you were using AI. And I started seeing it coming, and then I started doing some research, and lo and behold, ChatGPT comes out. And ChatGPT can literally, you can give it, if you haven't used it, you should be by now, take several bullets of what you want to say, and you can say, write me a chapter in this tone, in this voice, PhD level, and I won't say it put me out of business because I closed the business just in time. I should have transitioned, but I saw it coming, and when it hit November of last year, I had transitioned all the way out of it just in time, because now what we used to offer to our clients at a high premium and doing really, really well, I saw coming down the pipeline, and I got nervous, and I was nervous for a reason, and it proved to be true. So I'm sure people are still going to want to use writers, but I am very sure that if I was still doing that, it would have taken a big decline.
Carrie.
I'm glad we're on this subject because, just like we talked about the magazine, and, we were all happy. We had our wonderful first black president come into office, and we were just, and some of you, I don't know if y'all old enough to remember what happened around that time. Well, the internet came. The internet came, and the market crashed. One of the first things that died was print media, just like what you're talking about right now. So when that was happening, I saw this thing changing, and this is what I like to talk about: vision, seeing it before you see it. So I had to understand that at the end of the day, we are in the people business. And I thought back to the great gold rush. Remember the great gold rush? They taught us all that in school. It was the great gold rush. And then in Texas, it was the great oil rush. It's the oil. Now, the great rush is data. You can't lose with that stuff, because data, we're in the people business, right? So data is the new gold rush. It's the new oil rush. So when the magazine crashed, we still had our subscription base. We had one of the largest databases out here. So you take that, and when you think about cross-marketing, I think we all talked about, you talked about teaching, then building. It's all finding what you do, whatever it is that you do, and how you can service and help other people do it, how you could sell other people some products, services, and goods, just what he was saying. So we we always had the music, the gospel music. I mean, we had songs that has 100 million views on them. Songs like I Told the Storm and God Did It, you know, all of this music. And all of these people now are online consuming the music. So we went, the magazine crash, then we went from cassettes to CDs to, you know, I'm like, what's a download? What's a stream? What's a stream? What's a download? My magazine gone. My life falling apart. My life falling apart. How do I do this? What do I do next? You know, what do I do? And I'm telling y'all a little bit about my story because my story might be your story. And I'm just trying to share with you so you might have to work through your story a certain way. So all of this started happening, and I got this record label, and Walmart came. We thought it was the best thing since Swiss cheese, but Walmart, you know, we all the record labels, we sold our music cheaper to Walmart than we sold them to the independent stores because Walmart had more stores, so we sold everything cheap to them, and Walmart knocked everybody else out of business. So now the independent record stores, have y'all ever seen one? Y'all, some of y'all used to see them. Have you seen one lately? Huh? Right. So Walmart killed the small guys. So we really killed ourselves by selling things cheap to Walmart. And Walmart killed other businesses. Have y'all seen that happen?
You know, they didn't let Walmart in Johannesburg, South Africa, for that reason.
Yes.
Walmart, they had been advertising and promoting. They were coming. They wouldn't let them come because they knew what it would do to the small business entrepreneur.
Because we greedy. I'd rather sell one person 4,900 stores and try to sell all these little people. And at that time, I was really clever because I was distributing my own music. So I was distributing my own music. I was making it, distributing it to the stores, to the wall. I mean, really, it was genius. It was big. But then when it fell big. You see what I'm saying? So then I decided, well, let me do what we talked about earlier. Let me partner with somebody. So I partnered with Sony Music. And I'm just telling you about how personal things can happen in your life too. So I partnered with Sony Music, and they just didn't get how to sell gospel music at that time. So they didn't get it. My finances going, divorce happening, personal things get in the way. It's another thing we got to watch in business. You got to keep your personal life together. Yeah. That kills you every time. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to make sure your partner is the right partner. They're there with you, good or bad. What does it say when you marry them? For better or for worse. So these are things that you gotta watch because you know this is your business is like your marriage in a way. So you coexisting with your business and your spouse, right? So you got to make sure when you're making these decisions that you're making all the right decisions. But needless to say, I got involved with Sony Music, and it just wasn't doing it. So I had to really sacrifice and really go into prayer, sacrifice and everything. I had to figure out a way to buy my catalog back from them because they were killing me. So it took about a year or so, and I paid them their $1 million, and I got my catalog back. And I say my catalog is because I'm talking now, we're going into digital content. So I just want to let y'all know how important digital content is. So I still don't understand the streaming game. But I understand that check that I get every month. And it's bigger than any check I've ever seen before. And I don't have to do no work to get it. So I have product that's from 20 years ago now that's selling. And I'm going to say this because I started in the car business, and I had this white car salesman. He was a manager. And I remember when I'll tell y'all a story, but I was selling cars, and one day he walked me out and he says, "You see all these cars?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "There's an ass for every seat." I say, "What?" He said, "There's an ass for every seat." In other words, every car on this lot is going to get sold. Somebody's going to sit in it, and it's going to go. Do you ever notice when the 2000 and when 2002, the one come, all the 2000s are gone? So they're going to sell. There's a for every seat. So I said that to say, with digital content, writings, all that, don't worry about AI. I use them right now. But what I do now is I take AI, and let's say I'm promoting my new movie. So I'll take AI and tell AI to write me an ebook. Write me an ebook. I don't even know how to spell or write, but I got some books out right now, right? And you know what I do with them? I use them as clickbait. And you're saying, what is clickbait? Whatever it is that you do, just get it together, do an ebook, put it online, get your click funnels. You ever heard of click funnels? One of the most awesome softwares out right now is something called Higher Level. Get your click funnels. We got the movie, right? We got the trailer. I don't know if y'all saw the trailer. Y'all played the trailer? Oh, y'all ain't played the trailer while I was gone.
I waited till you got back.
Oh, okay, all right. All right. So if you watch the trailer, right? This is a very compelling trailer about this family. It's inspirational. It's a trailer. So you watch it online, you watch it on the internet, whatever. And then after it goes off, it says, click this link to get a free download of the book that tells you about the movie before the movie. So we did that, and in a month, we've got 58,000 people that's downloaded my AI book. And that's awesome, right? I didn't make no money for selling. I gave it to them for free. But I told you guys that I just got back from California, right? And I was meeting with a major film, I would say somebody like Sony or Lionsgate. I can't say exactly who it is. But when they saw the strategy and they said, you already have 58,000 people that's interested in watching this movie, where do we sign? How much you want? We want this movie. This is why I say dream bigger than big, because I never thought I would be in this position today. You have to think, you have to dream big. You have to take whatever it is that you have and figure out how to make it work for you and what you're doing. And that was like they never heard of anybody doing it. But I'm online, right? I'm looking. Most people looking at people shaking or sermons or this and that. I study marketing techniques. I study what the Fortune 500 companies do. And I'm like, if they can do it to create their community, why can't I do it to create my community? And so that's how we have to start looking when you're talking about business. Because business is all about profit and loss, and you want to get the profit. So you want to be able to spend the money. You got to set yourself up for the win, but you also have to be a good steward You have to be a good steward and understand business. We're no longer living in the hamburger and hot dog days. We're living in technology. So you have to embrace it and see how it benefits you. And so now what you got to look at too, let's go past, I'm talking about movies and I'm talking about music. Let's go past that real quick and I'm going to get back.
Yeah,
to me,
our time is about
okay. To me, the music is a business card. It's a business card. What we need to look at is how we can now, what we said from the beginning, connect with Fortune 500 companies that want to reach our market. So that's where the money really is in the streaming world. So you want to create the community and sell your people to those people who want to sell them some toothbrush, some shoes, some shirts, some hair gel or whatever, because that's what we're into. That's what this whole business thing is about. That's how you get to the real bag, to the real bank. And that's what we need to do as black people, is start getting to the real bag.
Well, thanks, Kerry, because he's definitely pioneering and leading the way because he's been able to do some incredible, cut some incredible deals. And like he said, he's getting incredible checks. And I want him to remember incredible work I did, pro bono. Pro bono work 20 years ago when he wasn't getting them incredible checks. No. So, listen, we want to thank all of our guests today, and we want to thank you for listening and also being here in our live audience on boosting your business. Thank you so much, Dr. Shannon Williams. Thank you so much, Osiris Jackson. And thank you so much, Kerry Douglas. I'm Dr. Dana Carson. So long. Thank you. Bye-bye.